Hi folks, welcome to another edition of An Hour with Bob. We have a special guest today, and he's a friend, so I'm telling you right off the bat, I worked with him, for him, whatever you want to call it, for 3 years actually, and worked on his campaign before that, campaigns, and I like him as a person. We agree on most things, but not everything, and you will find out a couple things today. But that's the case with anybody, any friend, anybody you know. You don't agree on everything. You got to have disagreements. That's what makes it fun. And here we are with the governor of the state of Rhode Island, Dan McKee.
Yes, good.
How you doing?
I know you wore out more than one knee on many different activities with me, and I really appreciate it, Bob.
Yep, we've had a run, huh?
We've had a run. Now I'm governor and trying to do good things for the state every day, and as you say, not everything is perfect, and but at the same point in time, you got to make certain decisions on the behalf of the majority, the best interest of the people. Of
well, I'm going to take you off the hook on one thing.
Okay.
The bridge. It's not Dan McKee's fault, the bridge. That happened before you, that started before you, that's been going on for years and decades even. And it's sad to know that these contractors come in, bid on doing work on the bridge, and they had to know, they had to see. When you're there on a daily basis, you have to see if you're in construction. I mean, I did small-time construction, but even I would know that when something's hanging, a column's hanging, it's not touching the ground, obviously something's wrong. So they got, the last contract was what, $41 million, that contract?
Yeah, about $70 million to repair a bridge that was not repairable. Bob.
Exactly.
And so my decision was made when I was told that it was unsafe, that I put safety as the highest priority,
right,
and politics be damned, and any abuse that you get because of the nature of what transpired, which was not a pleasant experience for people. It was difficult for them. It disrupted their families, disrupted their workforce, their
livelihood for businesses.
Yeah, it disrupted in many ways school activity and family activity. So
right.
We know that it was a serious issue for in people's lives for a period of time, but the decision needed to be made, and I think that we made the right decision to keep people safe. And if you ask anybody, their safety and their family safety far outweighs any level of disruption, because of traffic flow. So, but since we decided that a bridge needed to be built, which was on March 14th of 2023, we've made significant progress on this, right? So we have tore down the bridge that was existing, that was unrepairable.
Is it all gone now? The bridge is still gone?
Upper levels is all down. The substructure that's underwater will be taken out over the next few months.
And they're going to take out the parts that they missed the barge with there. There was a big thing about
and remember that was when you demolish a bridge that's over water, then you have to have it land somewhere. So
right.
the where it's supposed to land is
happen.
on the barge.
It missed the barge.
Well, it didn't miss it completely. It just but the fact of the matter is that you're taking down structures over water, and it's going to go into the water. And I think that's a good point you're making, because everybody who's running a red flag on anything that's happening there, there's a political reason why they're doing it, right? They're trying to be disruptive. And they've been proven wrong over and over and over again, as they say, in that, we've had DEM there, CMRC there, we've had the Federal Highway Department there inspecting all of this work. There's no any level of evidence there that somehow that something was done wrong. So when you're tearing down the bridge, it's done. We are in contract right now with two contractors, worldwide known bridge builders, who are going to rebuild that bridge, and that bridge is going to outlast all our lifetimes in the state of Rhode Island.
Certainly mine.
Well, ours for sure, but our kids, Mabel James, who is a
How
two-year-old granddaughter.
How old is she now?
A little over 2 years, 2 years and a couple months.
Matt's daughter.
Is Matt's daughter, and you, Matt well. Look, when we get into the construction, this construction is going to happen on a faster pace than what's happening in Pennsylvania. Faster pace than what's happening in Maryland with the bridge there, the Keystone Bridge.
Right.
It's going to be faster than the Newport Bridge construction. It's going to be faster than the Seconic Bridge construction.
Yeah, that's putting it out there, though. You're saying, you're making a prediction that's...
It'll be faster. And from the time that you decided to build the bridge to the time that the bridge is complete, And if you go back to when you did all the plans on those bridges, which was predated any groundbreaking, because you had a year or more of planning on all those bridges, probably even more. So in the end, we're going to get measured on how well we did. I have complete confidence that we'll have a bid in place in June sometime, and we'll be dealing with a nationally renowned contractor, one of the two that are bidding. And then we
Can you name them, who they are?
I don't know the public. It's public. It's all public information. This whole RFP process is public information,
Right.
with all the time frames that have been set to make sure that we're meeting time. I meet weekly since the bridge has been closed with our staff from DOT, from our engineering department, from our business department, and relative to commerce, through our Colonel Weaver on our state police for enforcement, which we're enforcing on trucks already beginning. If you're overweight, you're going to get pulled over. You have a good opportunity.
And they've had a few instances where substantially overweight.
Yeah, substantially overweight. I think that's...
What is it, 85,000 pounds or something?
Well, it's 85 is good, okay.
Right.
When it gets up to 120 or something like that, then it becomes a little bit of a danger point. But look, fines are being levied. We are overseeing that. We still are working to make sure that the accidents are actually down since if you do the same time
Right.
period as before, where when we made the announcement again, it was December 23, but it was not until March of 24 that we determined we needed to take on a bridge. It's only been slightly over a year,
Right.
Bob. So when everything's said and done, and we still have tow trucks out there.
Are they there 24/7?
We have them 24/7
Do
because
they need to be there 24/7?
they may or may not be needed there, but we want to make sure that if there is an accident,
Right.
that we clear it as quickly as we can.
That was a good idea.
And we've been doing that for well over a year.
Right.
And so we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can to lower the disruption in people's lives. And right now, look, I just came over the bridge. It was normal traffic flow.
Right.
And anything that is backed up now, it was backed up before the bridge was closed.
Was it backed up like that?
It backed up like that because we do the hourly, daily, by the hour traffic look at week by week, and we overlay it with what information we had in 23. And
Before
predated the closure.
Right.
And if it was aggravating at any time and during that time frame, and it's aggravating today, it was aggravating before the bridge came down. So we're going to make sure that we're doing everything we can, including helping the businesses. I have visited many businesses. Heck, you were on a lot of business tours with me.
We went, yeah.
And I'm not shying away from that. I visited dozens of businesses in East Providence during the time frame that was very difficult. We put out grants Mayor DeSilva's been great, Mayor Smiley's been great working with their small businesses. We provided them with hundreds of thousands of dollars of grant relief for the businesses that could actually show that they had an impact during that first 90 days, which was the time frame when they were just getting the two lanes both ways.
That was a good idea.
But once you
making
got
the
3 lanes going away, and go look back, and the comments that were made about putting 6 lanes there was disbelief for
Right.
many quarters.
Right. Yep.
And now look at it; it's just a natural flow.
And I go over it I went over today to get here.
Sure.
I go over it all the time.
All I'm saying is, look, it was a major aggravation in people's lives during that first 90 days. But I can tell you, we got traffic going in both directions, in a very fast pace within, I think, 72 hours. And think if you were in Maryland right now, in Baltimore, there's no bridge. They are diverting people around that area, and there is a delay of an hour or more on normal transportation. We don't have that. We're blessed to have that. Yes, I think that people certainly have a right to question how we got there. But like you said, my job at the point in time was to fix it. Once I knew there was a problem, I made the move to close it down, took a lot of heat, still am taking heat on it. But in the end, I think that people want their families to be safe. And then once we show that it will be rebuilt in a professional way, at no additional cost to our taxpayers. Remember, I worked with the current administration to secure that $220 million.
So is that money locked in?
That money's locked in.
So Trump can't take that back?
Well, I've had a personal conversation with Secretary Duffy. I'm working with anyone that would work with us. They're working right now to release another $250 million so that we can do $780 million of infrastructure work on Route 95 for 15 new bridges. So we've moved up on our infrastructure ranking. I know that the Washington Bridge kind of is a little stain on our work to a certain degree.
I think more than a little stain, but
it is. Well, it's more than a little stain, but I mean, it's become very political right now, Bob.
Right.
It is all political. It is not. You're not really reporting the accurate information there. But we've moved up since I've been governor 14 spots on our infrastructure rating.
Right. Yeah.
That's a big deal. We have billions of dollars in the pipeline right now, which we've never had before, not only on infrastructure work. I just talked about over $1 billion of work just on the bridges on Route 95 and Washington Bridge that are going to put people to work at good paying jobs.
Right.
How about the infrastructure that's happening on the state health lab that no one really realizes that we've been in construction for about 3 years on a state health lab down in downtown Providence, brand new state health lab, and a public-private partnership.
And where is that? Is that on like Eddy Street over there?
It's right in the Jewelry District area.
Right, yeah.
And we've also made it a public-private partnership. So 120,000 square feet of that 200,000 square feet is for life science, private life science. We've already leased out the first 30,000 square feet in advance of actually the building opening up. So when you start putting all these things together, the work that's being done at Quonset, the work that was been done in the fisheries down in Galilee, the university work at URI, we're plugging in over $150 million on the Bay campus right now that wasn't there before.
What are they doing there? What are you doing?
The Bay campus is a beautiful campus about oceanography.
Oh, that's in Narragansett.
It's in that area, right? And it's one of the top 4 in the country in terms of oceanography. It hadn't been invested in since the 1950s. I made sure that we got that moving, and now it's being reconstructed as a new campus with new buildings on that campus. And in addition, we invested in the athletics with the football field going to have brand new bleachers. The baseball program and the track program, which are A10 champions, could not host a track tournament there. How disgusting is that?
Right. Yeah,
so we're fixing that as we speak. A life science building is going to be built there because of the bond that was passed. A cybersecurity school at Rhode Island College that never existed before. I brought in Congressman Langevin to head that up. He's nationally renowned in that cybersecurity space. We're going to build a building there, retrofit a building, and we'll put 1,000 students in that school and graduating 250 a year, and beginning in about 5 years, into 6-figure jobs, $120,000 paying jobs. So the infrastructure is there. I know that the Washington Bridge is an issue in many people's minds, but I think when people look back on it, they're going to say, I made the right decision to keep people safe. We made the right decision in terms of as soon as we knew that bridge was being repaired and it was not repairable, to put in place a strategy to put a new bridge in place. And that's going to happen in a normal construction time frame. And when people actually see the end result,
guaranteed. If the end result, if that bridge is finished before the next election, you'll be in good shape.
Well, I mean, look, again, I have no idea the time frame. We'll find out the time frame when the bid comes in. We'll find out the pricing when the pricing comes in. But we've reserved cash so that taxpayers don't have to absorb it. We've passed Gavi bonds, they call it, so that we can actually borrow against future federal funding, so that it's not going to impact the state's taxpayer. So we'll see in the end, but I'm pleased of where we are right now compared to where we were when you had all those unknowns, when I had to shut that bridge down to keep people safe.
Well, it sounds good. It sounds good. I do have, people have been telling me this, asking me this, why don't you ask him this question? You said, I told you I was going to hit you a little bit. You said it's got to be, somebody's got to pay. Somebody's got to pay for this. Almost like heads are going to roll.
Yeah, I know. And there's some people want to take people's heads off that are actually managing whether it's our director of transportation, Peter
Alviti.
they want him gone.
Right.
But I'm not seeing any evidence that he or his staff knew that they were putting people's safety at risk. So we'll certainly settle out. There's certainly some things there that logistically that we've made comment on. But at the same point, my job is to figure out how to get it done and hold people accountable. As you said in your opening comments, we're holding the professionals that were doing the inspections accountable for not realizing that they were putting up $70+ million in the last go around to repair a bridge that was unrepairable. Now I brought on attorneys. That's the other thing I did independently of actually DOT. I brought my own engineers in to take a look at it. I brought my own staffing in, my legal team, to start off the process of, is this an area that that the private attorneys would consider a viable case? They do. We transferred it to the Attorney General's office because that's where the lawsuit needs to be defended. Right now, our Attorney General is working with the legal team that I brought in to pursue what I consider is the accountability. I consider that the day of reckoning that I've talked about. Unfortunately, legal process takes longer than people have patience for, but we need to do it right, and I believe that we're holding the people accountable that should be held accountable.
Well, that would be nice to see the state get back something from somebody.
I expect that we will.
Yeah.
I think that, look, we have brought on professional attorneys that have background on this.
And I know one guy you have there, Max.
Max has exited professionally, and
then
we've substituted somebody in that has equal or even more experience on these type of lawsuits.
Right.
And we're going to, I believe that we're going to be recovering, and I think that it'll come out that, we probably got a little bit of information, not misinformation, but we lacked the information that we probably needed to make a decision earlier. And then it wouldn't have been nice, Bob, if I wasn't governor when when the bridge had to get shut down, because it is. We know what I know what people are frustrated with, and all I can do is I can understand the frustration, but I just want them to realize that we're doing everything humanly possible, and I have been meeting weekly on this for well over a year and a half, and we'll continue to meet weekly until we can be on the bridge and have a ribbon cutting for a brand new bridge that will outlast our lifetimes.
Now, and I do know that could have come out about that bridge before, when you were still Lieutenant Governor. That could have come out, but it didn't.
Well, there was a couple false starts there for clearly on some work that might have realized what we ended up realizing. But remember,
it took a rookie engineer to find it.
Well,
right?
remember that the first 90 days, I was told initially close it for 90 days, and we'll be back in action after 90 days. So the first 90 days was about repair. But when I brought my own engineers in to take a look at the evidence and the structures, at that point in time, between the December 11th of 23 and March 14th of 24, the idea was that bridge was going to reopen and be under the same repair schedule, right? So a lot of time on the bridge. I understand I need to do it. But since the March 14th date, we've made the progress that needs to be made. The bridge is down. The understructure is going to be taken out. We'll have a new contractor in place. We'll keep on trying to clear, have people drive safely. Every time there's an accident, there is a backup. We got to clear that. That's why we got the tow trucks there. And also that's why we have the oversight with our state police, still very active in that whole area, Bob. So, yeah, it's a long explanation for a very complicated issue, and I know that we'll be talking about this for years, but I hope that we start talking about the 2030 plan.
I was just going to say that. We took it off me. All right, let's talk about the 2030 plan.
Yeah, so it's, and you know that I haven't worked with me, you know that I really like to measure things, and I don't think that it's just seeking out a headline. I think you need to make sure that you're putting the work in to improve people's lives, right? So on our Rhode Island 2030 plan, and you can go to RI-2030.com, it's a very interactive site. The basis for the plan is that we want to make sure that we're doing everything we can in and out of the school day time frame to raise our academic outcomes in our schools so that we meet or exceed Massachusetts levels by 2030. We've already closed the gap on our reading by 34%,
Right.
and our math by 18%.
Math's big to me. To me, math is
and
big.
we're just ready to launch, and maybe you would come and cover this. You know, we're ready to launch, which we announced just a few months back, at a school in Providence, by the way, that has actually outperformed any school in elementary school in the history of Providence. The first gold, I think it's a gold ribbon, they call it, national award. Only 340 plus of these in the entire blue ribbon school. 340 entire country.
I know.
And Martin Luther King Elementary in Providence got one of those designations. That's huge, and it shows the improvement we're making under our leadership with the state, school system. So reach or exceed Massachusetts levels, which would make us the very best in the country by 2030. That's part of the Rhode Island 2030 plan. The other piece is, which I think you agree with, you're an entrepreneur, let's raise people incomes, right? Let's raise incomes in every household in the state of Rhode Island, and let's raise personal wealth. You know, and I know that a lot of our equity is in our homes, our real estate that we've owned. That provided us a lot of equity. So let's make sure we create a path for young people for the home ownership. So that's the other piece, and then let's make sure that we're doing everything we can on health and wellness to be preventative and making sure we're healthy. And then we've spent enough time on infrastructure, but let's make sure that we continue to build out our infrastructure in a way that the people really recognize that the roads are getting better, the bridges are getting safer, and the airport, fastest growing airport in the entire country.
I love flying out of there. I will not fly out of Boston. I'd rather have a stop than have to.
Fastest growing airport in the entire country. Yeah. Breeze Air now is anchored in the first hub, started with 4 planes, never did destination marketing until I became governor. We now have a destination marketing strategy into our airport rather than just by car coming into our state. Our hospitality and our travel, tourism is up almost 6% year over year since I've been in office. And so we're really creating an economy there. So that whole infrastructure piece has many components. But we also put in a program I think you would like. It's called Road Restore. Do you know what Road Restore is?
I do not.
No, most people don't. So as a mayor, I not only did I sign compacts with 38 out of 39 municipal leaders to help us achieve this out-of-school strategy in education to support what's happening in the schools. We'll have 22 learning centers that are in construction right now in the state of Rhode Island to do out-of-school strategies like I did as a mayor. And then so the road.
What do you mean learning centers? What are you talking about?
So these municipal learning centers, we are building out municipal learning centers in partnership with my office and the municipal leaders. So in East Providence, there'll be a learning center. I put over $80 million in to fund about 22 different learning centers throughout the state, where families can bring their kids when they're out of school year-round and participate in learning programs, fun learning programs. And that's in 22 of the places in Rhode Island. A couple of Middletown, Newport are partnering together into one with the Boys and Girls Club Annex, along with, but it's under our leadership that we're going to create these learning opportunities. In those learning centers, too, there's going to be earning opportunities by the federal standard, 5-year commitment by our municipal leaders. And you're going to put earning strategies in there, upskilling people on their skill sets so they can earn more money. Nice. Right? And that's going to be baked in there. There's going to be a health component in there as well. But Road Restore, take a guess.
Okay.
So
is that road or also train restore?
Roads. Like and then before I leave, we're going to talk about Susan's, First Lady's, litter-free Rhode Island. Yep. Let's make sure we spend 2 or 3 minutes on that, because we really have a lot of pride in our state, right? Yep. And we want people to have pride in the state. But the Road Restore is a unique program that I started, where we provide $1, and the municipality puts up $2, and then they improve their roads and sidewalks in their municipalities outside the state roads.
And normally the state's never done a thing like that.
The state has never done anything like that. We have over 1,000.
So that's encouragement. That's encouragement.
That's
for
right. And every city and town participated in the first round, the second round, and now in our budget we put a steady dollar amount. I think $6.5 million so that we can realize, a $20 to $25 million of improvements every year. Now,
Nice.
we've never done that, and I can tell you that didn't happen when I was
Well,
mayor.
you were mayor 12 years.
So right now, the projects that are in the pipeline, over $100 million of local road improvements are happening right now as we speak. That's not just 295. They got repaved. I got that repaved. It hadn't been repaved in 20 years. It's all repaved, all of 295. So the state roads, the federal highways, we're doing that on a state level. But this is a local, municipality-driven program.
You put up one, state puts up one, the city puts up two.
Yep, and we have now we have actually realized a better, even a higher ratio than that, well over $100 million on the first $27 million that have been put in of projects. 1,000 projects, Bob, are happening in local communities all around the state of Rhode Island. So that's a big, big deal.
Right,
I mean,
right.
that's a commitment that I've made, that we're going to do better on our roads. We're going to do better on our infrastructure. We're going to invest putting people to work at good paying jobs, right? So they have money in their pocket, and then that money can go into the economy, and we'll sell a lot of pizzas. The local pizza shop's going to sell a lot of pizzas as long as we keep
Well, you got a
people
picture of my
working.
pizza. You've had my pizza.
I know, I saw that. Well, we had a nice little interaction on the basketball stuff. That was good. Can we talk about the litter-free Rhode Island?
Go for it.
This is really an important piece, and it's my wife, Susan, and you know Susan very well.
Of course, I love Susan.
And she is now spending her time as First Lady, really focusing on a litter-free Rhode Island, right? And also she's working on the education at Learn 365 I talked about. She's a honorary chair of a nonprofit I started that's going to also help support all that learning activity in those learning centers. So, but Susan really wanted to make sure that we made a point that we want a litter-free Rhode Island. So we have a nationally renowned, recognized website. People can go and take a pledge on that website that they pledge for a litter-free Rhode Island, and then there's ways they can do it. We have a dashboard that recognizes I increased the amount of groundskeepers in the Department of Transportation. So that's a full-time job, is to make sure that we're litter-free on our state roads.
Oh, thank God.
And that dashboard will show that we have picked up, just in that work alone, over 100 tons of trash in the last year.
Wow.
That's a lot.
Sure is.
And my goal is that it's going to get less and less.
Yep.
With the help of the people in the state of Rhode Island. We've also put a small amount of money in the state budget, $100,000. We are doing grants, direct grants, to municipal leaders, volunteers, that they can pick up as much as $500 on a grant if they go out and they do a cleanup, with the condition that they send us back pictures and evidence that they did the cleanup.
Right.
And that's on our Litter-Free Rhode Island website. We have a dashboard that shows a map.
What is it? Literacy Rhode Island? What is it?
Litter-Free Rhode Island.
Litter-free Rhode Island.
And the map, you need to go to it and take a look at it. But every volunteer effort on the cleanup, every municipal cleanup that's going on, every state cleanup is all on the map. And you're going to see hundreds of dots on that map of people who are actually doing that work. So my wife Susan would be very happy that I mentioned that to you, because I know that you think it's important.
Oh, I do. Very
cleaned
much so.
outside.
I was just going to ask you. I want to be the litter czar. I want to.
Come on, I know.
I want to go out and enforce it.
So I have a young leaders group I put together.
Yep.
Kids that are exiting high school to about a few years out of college, like 18 to 25.
Right.
And in that group, we show them the 2030 plan, and we want them to know what's happening so that they can promote that in their communities. And when they heard the Litter-Free Rhode Island, Bob, they did a coloring book. So Jordan, who's at Bryant University right now, did the storyline of a coloring book. And then, and I'm going to, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to miss her first. She's at Providence College right now, and she did all the art. And the book tells a story about going to the beach and cleaning up the beach.
Nice.
And then there's all these Rhode Island. You would
And
love
it's a coloring book?
Yes, and you would love this because you are somebody that really works on trivia in the state. So a whole bunch of trivia questions, including what is our state flower.
Really? Wow, that's cool. That's cool.
So I've talked a lot.
All right.
So now it's your turn.
All right. Now you got to get the state to pass a bill to put 25-cent deposit on those little nips. Because I find them every damn day on the street. Those little, what are they, shot and a half whiskeys or vodkas or whatever. If you put a 25% tariff on a tariff, I sound like Trump. Put a 25
Careful with the tariffs.
deposit.
We'll
on
make it through the tariffs. I think we'll end up in the right spot eventually.
Hopefully, 25% deposit on those little bottles that you wouldn't find one on the street.
Because nobody would buy them?
No, they would pick them up and bring them back. We did it as kids. I know I did it as a
You think
kid.
that the kids there's a lot of people who might be using those and throwing them out that probably might not be, should be of age to be drinking in the first place. You know,
Yeah, so at least they can pick them up and get 25 cents for each one when they bring them back.
You think that would work?
Absolutely, positively. I remember as a kid picking up bottles for 2 cents with my little radio wagon and bringing them back to the store to get the 2 cents. You put 25 cents.
Yes, I did. At the end of the summer, I put it in a little wagon, and I went to the local Goss store on Diamond Hill Road, and I think I got, you had all the bottles, and whatever we got, I think I bought baseball cards with it.
There you go. We all had baseball.
And then I put the Hank Aaron in the bicycle, so it was sound
make
like
the
a motor.
noise, right?
Yeah.
Make the noise when you. Now we're talking like old guys. What's with Dexter Commons? What's that all about? Dexter Street Commons. There.
So it's the housing, right?
Okay.
So we're doing a lot of housing right now. I got the largest bond passed with help with the Speaker and the Senate President, $120 million. But we're intentionally strategizing how to add more housing units to the state in a way where we can meet the 2030 goals of raising incomes in different places. So I think that what you're referring to is we have 2 projects in Pawtucket right now that are about 150, about 300 units. I think it's a percentage of fair market value. Percentage, which would be in the moderate, low income. So those are 2 great projects. But if you're talking about projects, think about the soccer stadium.
I know we're going to get to that.
Oh my God! Now I took a couple arrows on that one, Bob.
Well, you took them from me.
I know.
I wasn't in favor of it.
I know. Wait till you see what's going to happen there on May 3rd.
I want to be there.
First,
I want to be there with you.
You are invited. I bought
Make
four.
it a point. I want to
bought
be there with you.
4 tickets. And I'm going to bring a couple of the naysayers with me, and you were one of them.
I'll be one of them.
And you're going to see a family social event that is going to astound you. The amount of excitement that's around that stadium, and I'm a believer now where I think that, I don't know soccer that well, but I'm learning that it's with all the food venues and all the stuff that's going to be there, 10,000 people are going to be showing up. When was the last time that there's been 10,000 people outside watching a sporting event in the state of Rhode Island? So you are going to see something.
I'll tell you there was one, and I was very much a part of it. When they didn't, none of the TV stations covered it, but I did. The Extreme Games in Providence. That was the only one. All right, that was the only one.
Sitting in a stadium setting.
They were all over the city. Go ahead.
You're going to get a nice tour here because a lot of the people who were saying, don't do it.
Right.
But this is more than the soccer. Last year they won their division.
Exactly.
And they were on national TV with a Rhode Island shirt on it.
Right.
You can't buy
That's
that.
big. That's
This
best
year,
advertisement you could ever
they
have.
got 2 national games scheduled.
Really?
Now, also the other activity that's going to happen
Hopefully, that's what I like. That's what I want to see, is other things going on there.
Well, there
besides
is, and I think that immediately, and I'm trying to remember, it was a lacrosse, or there's some lacrosse activity happening there. There's some college, there's a whole bunch of activity going to be there, including concerts, right?
Right.
This is going to be big, and so it's right on.
Well, that would make me a believer.
And you're a Pawtucket guy. You're a Blackstone Valley guy, like me.
That's right.
And it's right on the river. There's no location like this anywhere in the soccer world that is so primely located. And I've been saying for quite a few years that there's going to be a pedestrian bridge over that water, and you still don't believe that is coming, but it's being designed as we speak, Bob.
You got to deal with the coastal management, the DEM.
This is all
the Coast Guard.
I'm telling you, we put up the first $1.5 million for the design and also the early part of the construction on it. And what it's going to do is it's going to go over the river, and it's going to
people
connect.
Can come from School Street,
and it's going to connect into several hundred housing units on the other side of the river. This
Where
is going.
Parents Marina used to
This
be,
is
right?
going to re-identify Pawtucket, and so when we talk about the 2030 plan,
Right.
which had to do with tourism, it had to do with the economy. This is happening, but it also has to do with housing, and this is happening right in Pawtucket, and it has to do with raising incomes. So when we build across the river, and the majority of those apartments are going to be market rate apartments. There's going to be some in the income levels that need help, but it's going to be a majority. You're going to raise the incomes in the Pawtucket, and it's happening right now.
I've seen it. I'm a property owner. I've seen it.
And it's going to happen right now with the train station. And
that's a home run. You hit a home run there.
And the bus hub that I opened up, and I didn't turn my back on Pawtucket.
The what club?
There's a bus hub right at the train station that's connecting in, that I put the extra money in to make sure that we had, I think, $5 or $6 million that was invested into that, that train station for transportation on the bus travel as well. So, look, I said publicly, I'm not turning my back on the city of Pawtucket, and I didn't.
No, they got to build.
And by the way, that happened, and shame on those who turned their back on Pawtucket when the Poor Sox discussion was going on. Right. That should have been taken care of.
That was awful.
I was not going to repeat that. And unlike the bridge, just like the bridge, I've taken a lot of arrows in a campaign from candidates that talked really bad about it, right? So, at this point in time, you got one of my 4 tickets, and you don't have to pay me for it. And I don't think it's illegal.
No?
I don't think it's illegal. I got to find out.
Illegal's a sick bird, by the way.
All right. Well, if it's illegal, you'll have to pay me the money. But if it's legal, you don't have to pay me the money. But I don't think I think it's legal that you can't buy the ticket from me.
Right.
All right. So yeah. So it's a double standard. But yes. So the soccer thing, the construction of the housing units. Hasbro is something right in the mix there, and that we put out.
What's happening there?
Look, we put out a proposal to them that they should not walk away from. Now, if the leadership and this current CEO has this idea that Boston is a better place for them, I disagree with that.
I don't know how
completely.
they can think that way.
We've done the data. To live in Rhode Island
Right.
is significantly less expensive
Right.
than living in that Boston market.
Just parking in Boston. My nephew lives.
I got to get this number down, so I don't want to repeat it. This is not a small. This is substantially
Absolutely.
less costly
Absolutely.
to be living in Rhode Island than it is to live in Massachusetts.
They sold a parking space in the Back Bay in a parking garage for $750,000. A parking place.
Yeah. So
It's ridiculous.
all I can say on the
everything's not
Hasbro
that
issue,
expensive,
and
but-
I know that Mayor Grebian's working very hard to keep it in Pawtucket. Whether that happens or doesn't happen, we certainly have backed proposals in Providence and Pawtucket, and let them make up their mind where they want to go. And they've pushed this back. So they're into the summer now.
Right. They're playing with this is what they're doing. They're using that as leverage.
They could be.
That's what
They
I
could
think.
be, either, one of 2 things is true, either 3 things is that they're making an honest, decision.
Evaluation or whatever.
Yeah, or they're using one or the other against one or the other, right? Whether Massachusetts is being used for us. But we've put on a good proposal. We'll stand by that proposal. We want them to stay.
And that's for the Apex.
No,
location.
well, and in Pawtucket is, I believe, the Apex, and Providence is more on the 195, I-195 area.
Right.
Right near the State Health Lab, by the way,
Yes,
right?
yes.
But what's going to come of that, Bob, is that I've organized CEOs around the state, top CEOs of the top businesses, working with me particularly on the Hasbro issue. But it's morphed into even better than that. It's morphed into the strategy about how are we going to intentionally create skill sets in Rhode Island that fit the growth patterns of businesses that can employ people at good pay. So,
and keep them in Rhode Island.
And keep them in Rhode Island. So I did a population growth strategy in Cumberland. I'm going to do one in Providence. I mean in Rhode Island. And we are working now in that whole network of the Hasbro conversation with our higher ed, who can train into the skill sets that we can identify. That's what we're doing on life science, building in URI, or the cybersecurity at Rhode Island College, I said earlier. And we're going to partner in with the business community, and we're talking to many business community. I mentioned about JetBlue. the founder of JetBlue that now is in the Breeze Air. By the way, he's a sponsor on the shirt.
He's coming on the show.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, he's got a sponsor on the shirt of the Rhode Island Football Club, right? So, and then partnering with my Office of Government, with Commerce, and then we'll make a strategy to really build the innovation strategies, working with the Cambridge Innovation Center right now. And I think you'll see some announcements that are very consistent with our 2030 plan. And you would be good because you're not always on board with everything that I do.
I'm not a yes man.
I know you're not. But
I went around with you everywhere in the state several times with the the 39 communities.
Well,
who was with you more than me?
I know you were the man. We did all those 39 community tours.
Several times.
Diners, farms,
manufacturers, right?
That's why I'm all in on the small business, and we're doing things on the small business that we've never done before, which is really helping them out with back office help. Commerce is stepping up in a way where, when I got on board, the question that I was asked, well, what's $5,000 to a small business? Because I asked them to do these $5,000 grants coming out of COVID.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's a very helpful.
Helpful, yeah.
But the mindset at that point in time was not to do it. But today it is. And so now we can do both. We can do big business stuff, whether it's Hasbro or whether it's with Breeze Air, right? Or we can do small business things too. We can do both. And that's how you're going to help build the economy.
Olivia's going to be mad at you and me.
I know. I have to be back to the office in 20 minutes, and I only have 15 minutes to get there. The bridge better be okay. That transportation over the bridge better be working, or I'll be calling you. I'll be calling the governor and complaining about it.
Well, it's always great to have you come by, stop by. It's nice to see my old boss. And I'll give you this, because you always said to me, I'm not your boss, I'm your friend.
That's right. Well, that's why you still got my number, and you can bother me on a number of issues. But it was great that you got back to me on the NCAA tournament several times, because it was a good tournament.
Who were you disappointed in?
Who was I disappointed
what team?
in? Well, I was disappointed. Well, at first I was very happy Bryant University got there. I thought they played a pretty good first half against Michigan.
Yeah, they did.
The team that I got to see the game in Providence, right, between between St. John's, former Kentucky coach Pitino,
Pitino,
and the former UMass coach. The former
Calipari.
Calipari, who was at UMass at one time, right?
Right.
I actually went to that game in the 1990s when they played at the Meadowlands. Kentucky played UMass with Marcus Camby.
Really?
So I got to see that game.
Right.
So I really thought that the Arkansas team was a really well-coached and really motivated team.
Was that Arkansas Bonds?
No,
Bonds?
Arkansas was the. I picked the Bonds to go further.
Who was he with? Bonds?
I'm not sure. Was it?
I can't remember.
Yeah, but I thought that the Arkansas team, the team that beat St. John's, was a real fun team to watch.
Right. Yeah.
So I was hoping that they would kind of move on, because I had them in my pool with.
You did?
With Matt, who you pick 10 teams, and then you take the round that they're in and times it by the seed, and then that's how you get the points. So I think they were a 12 seed. So and they moved on pretty good. But no, I thought it was a great tournament to watch it. I watched the finals down in Miami, at an event I was down in Miami during the finals.
Wow!
And watching it with a lot of Florida fans at a bar with the we were sitting outdoors with the big screen.
That was a great pullout. That game, the end of that game. That was.
I still don't know how to. And I said I was a couple people.
Houston should have won that
introduced me as
game.
all the coaching I did, and I was like,
yeah.
You watch. They're going to go for a 3 and try to win it, and they went for a 3 at the end of that game, and they never got a shot off.
Right.
That ball should have went in, and then if they had something there, take the 2 for the overtime.
Right.
And if they merged in, then that would have been a kick out, and they would have had a fairly open shot for a 3. But they never got the ball inside the 3-point lane.
Well, folks, we had a lively discussion with the governor, but he had to leave before the full hour was done, and it's something I've always wanted to do over the years and never had a chance to do, never had any time left. But today we do. And if you've been watching me or following me for years, you've been around a long time, because May 29th is my anniversary, 33 years I've been doing an hour with Bob and Bob's Big Adventure. But before I did either one of these shows, I did a show, photos by by Bob. I've done a lot of traveling, plus I'm a photographer by training, and I've taken pictures all over the world. And I'm going to show you a bunch of pictures while we're here. And the first picture I'm going to show you right now is a picture from a movie scene that I came across, the location. I was there. It's in Jamaica, man. And you see that in the James Bond movies. And let me show you some pictures that I got here. Here's another picture from there. While I'm on the subject, let me show you another picture from there. That is Dunn's River Falls in Jamaica. And we'll get away from that right away, and we'll show you a local picture. That's a Phantom Farm in Cumberland, Rhode Island. And then we'll go away again. We'll go back down to Mexico. That's in Mazatlan, Mexico, on the west coast of Mexico. That's the Pacific Ocean behind those two people. And then we'll stay far away again. Let's go to somewhere also far away. This is Thailand. That's in the Gulf of Thailand. I don't know if you get a good picture of that. Oh, there you go. That's in the Gulf of Thailand. And then we'll go, well, not local, but in the United States. One of my favorite pictures I ever took. That's a picture in Chicago. That's two dolphins. Look how high they are off the water. I just happened to catch them. That's in, obviously, the aquarium in Chicago. We'll go away again. We'll go back to Mexico. That was in, I can't remember the town. That was in Mexico, though. Might have been Tijuana. Maybe not. And then we'll go back home. I always love coming back home because I still say Rhode Island is the best place to be. Some people disagree with me, but we have, I think, the best weather. We have 4 seasons, unlike a lot of other places. I was in Texas recently, and it was either 30 degrees or 90. I'll take Rhode Island. We'll go back. We'll stay in Rhode Island here. That's a shot I took on a boat. Woman feeding the seagulls as they come out. And we'll jump away again. We'll go back to North Africa. That was a shot I took in, where was that? Casablanca, obviously, right near Casablanca. Let me move that over a little. Right near Casablanca, going to Casablanca. This was, leaving there, I went to Marrakesh, Morocco. Look, that's how they get around down there, you know. Very few cars. They're all bicycles or mopeds. This was a shot I took in Northern California after a big fire in the Berkeley Hills. These cars, nothing was saved. Fire damage far exceeds the damage of floods, earthquakes, tornadoes, because it wipes out everything. You will not find a photograph or any of your keepsakes. They're all gone. Everything is destroyed in a fire. Now we go to Miami Beach, actually. Look at this. A lot of people doing crazy things out there. And here's, sadly, we haven't had them in a few years, but the Quonset Air Show, I wish they'd come back. I really missed that. Another event locally, or not that, 50 miles away, is the Boston Marathon. This was a good one. This was a historic. That was the 100th anniversary of the Boston Marathon. Then we go to Quechee, Vermont. You don't have to go too far in Rhode Island to get to places in New England that have great fun things to do. That's Quechee, Vermont. That's obviously the balloon show. And then I had, I used to do a segment on my show. I would bring people on and have them say, I watch Bob, and this is the test track dummies, right? Is that what they call them? Let's put it over here, yeah. Move it over a little bit. They did a thing for I Watch Bob's Big Adventure. And here we are in the C-130 watching the paratroopers jump out of a perfectly good plane. Then we went across the world to Kazakhstan. In fact, this is a town called Uсть-Kamenogorsk, Kazakhstan. I can't believe I remember the name of that town. I can't spell it, but Uсть-Kamenogorsk, Kazakhstan. I was there in February one year, And on February 2nd, that night, there was no groundhogs coming out because the actual temperature was 40 below zero that night. And coming back to the United States, this is in Atlanta at the Olympics in 1996. It was hot there, so they had the sprays. They had this area in the Olympic Village where the water sprayed from the ground and above your head to keep everybody cool. And back to the Caribbean. This is Megan's Bay in St. Thomas. Beautiful place. Absolutely beautiful place. And this is on Lake Michigan. Lake Michigan looks like an ocean, doesn't it? That's Lake Michigan nearing sunset. And sadly, 4 days after 9/11, that Saturday, I had already had plans to go to New York. Me and 2 camera people, we went down to New York as planned, but unfortunately it was to see the remnants of 9/11. That was that Saturday. I was there September 15th, 01. And we went all around that day. All right, well, we can show you something fun. All right, here we go. The Grand Canyon. This is me on being a ham on the Grand Canyon. It's the south end of the Grand Canyon. What else we got? This is in the Bristol 4th of July Parade, one of my favorite events. That's me and my son Zachary. By the way, Zachary is now 30 years old. That's how long it was going on, and we were doing his show. How long ago we started his show. And we'll go back to, here you go. I can't remember her name. Yosemite National Park, one of the most beautiful places in the world that I've ever seen. I mean, I love this place. I mean, it's spectacular. Yosemite National Park. And you might know who this guy is. If you don't, that's Chuck Norris, the karate guy, whatever you want to call him. Texas Rangers, right? He was Walker, the Texas Ranger. And here I am in Casablanca. Nope, that's Marrakesh. That was Marrakesh. All right, let's jump back to one of my proud moments. When I started, I was the only media, call me a media. This was the Extreme Games before the national media got involved. That was the first year of the Extreme Games in Providence. And I had the head of the event here before it started, and I covered it the entire time. Yours truly, covering the Extreme Games. This is Sausalito, California. I caught this woman lounging, and I thought it was a perfect picture. Now back to, here we are. This was if anybody in the Marines will remember this, that's one of the toughest parts of becoming a Marine in boot camp. You have to carry all your gear, you have to wear all your gear, and you have to swim the width of the pool, I don't know how many times, but it was, it's something that you had to do to make it in the Marines, to get by boot camp, and a lot of people didn't do it. I don't know, it's probably 10 or 15% couldn't do it. Then we get to some fun things. This was in Michigan. I was driving down the road in Michigan, and I saw this. I said, some guy had a sense of humor, I'll tell you that. To do that. It's not a person, by the way. It's just his pants. And this is our own Rhode Island, at the harbor. That's Newport Harbor right there. Or actually, that is next to Newport. That's Galilee right there. Beautiful place. Remember this woman, Joan Rivers? At one of my favorite places ever. If you're under 40, you probably never even heard of it, but the Warwick Musical Theater was the place back in the day. They had everybody there. Buster Barnoff, Larry Barnoff, the owners. They had every entertainer that came around did a show at the Warwick Musical Theater. I mean, I really missed that place. And staying in Rhode Island, got a lot of glare on these pictures. This is part of the Black Ships Festival they have every July in Rhode Island. They still to this day have it. And that is the sumo wrestlers. I interviewed a sumo wrestler. I said, what do you eat? What's your diet? He goes, everything. He said, I eat everything. Or everything and anything. This is in Coconut Grove. Let me take these down. Too many pictures here. This is Coconut Grove, Florida. If you've never been there, it's in southern Florida. And you see a lot of these artists. They spray cans they do this stuff with. It's pretty amazing what they do. I'm a big fan of sunsets. This is the sunset picture I caught, the father and the son walking across this bridge. This was in Cape Coral, I think, Cape or Fort Myers, Florida, one or the other. This is me again at Olympic Village in Atlanta, Georgia. Do you know who I interviewed at Olympic Village? If you remember that, it was supposed to be Evander Holyfield was supposed to bring the torch up and light the cauldron there, or whatever it's called. And instead, he shocked everybody, shocked the world. He handed it off to Muhammad Ali. Well, I got to see him the next day. I ran into him, and I asked him about it. And I said, who knew about that? He said, only me, Muhammad Ali, and the director of the whole show knew about what they were going to do. I mean, that was a shock to everybody, what he did there, what they did there. I mean, it was the coolest thing. I got a couple more here. Anybody, you've been to Mexico? You've been to Tulum? You know what Tulum is? Tulum, I guess it's pronounced. Tulum. That's the Mayans built that. I hope you like these pictures. I had some time, like I said, and I always wanted to show some of these. I really used to project them on a chroma key, and so you had them on the whole wall of the studio. It was pretty cool. This is in, I think, St. Martin. Let me see. Yeah, it is. That's in St. Martin. Isn't that a beautiful picture? Don't you want to be there? Until next time on An Hour with Bob. Thank you for stopping by. See you later.